The first thing I said was, I didn't have sex with them.
Hello and welcome to the latest episode of the Bad Times Good Stories podcast. My name is Joe Flanders. I hope you are having a wonderful week. I hope you had a nice 4th of July if you were celebrating. I hope that you didn't injure yourself with a firecracker, bottle rocket, Roman candle. Those are the ones that always scare me, the ones that you like hold and then it shoots out. Anyway, I didn't hurt myself, thankfully. It was a nice time. I am excited to share with you guys today's episode with comedian Lin Sun. She is my new favorite person. She's a delight. She's had a very interesting life. She just got into comedy a little over a year ago, and she's 39. She's a single parent, and she had a lot of different careers before she got into stand-up. Most notably, she would give massages and happy endings. She talks about it pretty openly in her stand-up and in our conversation. She talks about why she did it, and why she kept doing it, and why she stopped doing it. Spoiler alert, it was not the multiple arrests that she found herself in. It was the fact that she was just tired of looking at dicks. And I sure as hell don't blame her. She earned that money. It's just a great conversation. I laughed a lot. And she also explains how she's a single parent and juggling being a single parent and doing stand-up. This is a really good conversation. So I hope you enjoy it. If you do, please give us that 4 stars on iTunes. We are up to 68. And a big shout out to Lynx 2442 and Scuns 18. Thank you both so much for leaving a review on the iTunes. Those comments mean so much to me. It's not easy doing a show entirely on your own, and I'm not complaining. I love doing it, but sometimes it does feel like you're just putting this stuff out into the void, and it's really nice to know that people enjoy the show and appreciate the conversations that I'm having. So, if you enjoy them, please leave me a comment. It means the world. On a bad day, that can really just brighten it all up and remind me why I love doing this. So thank you to both of you for doing that. I really appreciate it. And you can also email me at badtimesgoodstoriespodcast@gmail.com. Share your bad times, and I may just read them on the air. And you can check out badtimesgoodstoriespod.com for past episodes, merch, and a link to the Patreon page. That merch, I've got coffee mugs, t-shirts, tote bags, all the good stuff. So, any number of ways to support me and this show. That's all I've got for now, so without further ado, here's my conversation with Lin Sun. Oh, you used to gamble?
I used to play poker.
Yeah?
But not like I was using my rent money for
that's
it.
good.
Not like that. But
How'd you do?
I was okay. I started reading books. I wanted to do it professionally at one point. I started reading books about it, and I started getting all like skillful at it.
Mm-hmm.
But then I'm like, damn, this is expensive.
Yeah. What's the largest you ever lost in a night?
Like $700.
$700? Okay.
A poker table.
Okay.
Sad.
Yeah.
I didn't know what I was doing though.
Mm.
I was just playing on luck. But this was when I was also still doing massages. I don't know if we're already recording.
Yeah, we are. Yeah, we're in it now.
Yeah. So when I was already giving hand jobs for a living.
Spoiler alert. We'll get there. We got a lot to unpack this week.
Yeah. So I was making a lot of money, so it didn't really matter.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So you were a responsible gambler.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then did you get out because you're like, maybe this would get maybe I'm going to... Why'd you get out?
I can't even remember. I think it was just because I started just changing my mind. Like you just get out,
Sure.
Yeah, I was over it. I'm like, okay, I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
I'm going to do something else. Because my soul is entertainment industry. So like acting, comedy, writing,
Right.
So poker was just like a pastime that I thought was going to be.
Well,
amazing.
and it's like most things, like, the professionals do it like 24/7.
They sure do.
And then that's when you realize, like, oh, my passion is performing.
I know.
My hobby, maybe that I like doing on the weekends with some friends, is playing poker.
Because you're like, oh, I don't want to work that hard to do poker.
Yeah.
Like
I played a lot in high school and college. Texas Hold'em, because that was like when it blew up on ESPN.
Oh,
and, like Chris
okay.
Moneymaker won the title and all that stuff. And I probably played. I'm going to guess if I played 1,000 games of poker, I won 502 of those times. I basically broke even.
Well, that's good. At least you didn't lose money.
So it was definitely purely a hobby for me.
But you didn't play at casinos.
No,
Oh, okay.
yeah. It was just like $10, $20 buy-ins with friends,
Oh, yeah.
It's really just an excuse to hang out more than anything.
Yeah.
But it was fun.
It's fun.
Yeah, I definitely... I've got an expressive face, so I think I had some pretty obvious tells.
I know.
Oh!
I know. You're like nothing. But people said that my poker face was that I'm always smiling. So
Really?
they couldn't tell the difference.
Oh, just always?
Yeah, because I'm always like jolly, even if I
Just
was
happy to
like,
be here.
Yeah. I'm just like, oh, this is fun. And they'd be like, oh, you're such, it'd be all dudes,
Yeah,
And, all dudes and me.
Yeah.
And like, this was like 10 years ago. And I was like really young and like sexy back in those days, And I'd be like, oh, I'm like one of the dudes.
That doesn't come as a surprise to me.
Yeah. And then the guys are like, you're not one of the dudes. But I thought I was,
Oh, okay.
I'm like, oh, I thought they were my friends.
Yeah,
Like I didn't
they just
know.
want your money.
Yeah. But I was, just always happy. So they didn't know if I was winning or losing or what. So they didn't know what I was holding.
So you're good with your coffee?
Yeah.
Okay, because I'm like 12 years old and drink juice boxes, so.
You're like my son. My son.
Yeah. My girlfriend started getting them for me, and it's just like, oh, there's only 8 grams of sugar in one of these. Well, this is better than Coke.
It is better than Coke.
And I'm
I
getting
love
my,
Coke.
I don't know, vitamin C.
Yeah. Your sugar fix.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway. Okay, so this is fun. Friend of the show, Caitlin Allen,
Yes.
paired us together, and all that I know about you is that you are a single parent,
Yes.
and the circumstances that led to you being a single parent are interesting, to say the least.
Yes.
And also, you got arrested giving hand jobs.
Yes.
So, hello, how are you?
Nice to meet you.
Exactly.
Yes.
Real pleasure. Yeah. So there's a lot to
Oh my
unpack.
God,
Obviously,
yeah.
There's more to your story than those two things.
Jesus.
But this is why I love doing the show.
And you know what is so I'm not even sad about any of it,
No, and that's
which is
great.
the cool part. Like,
Yeah.
because it could easily be like a sad memoir,
Yeah.
But like, it's not.
Yeah.
It's comedy. It's freaking hilarious. But okay, so what should I tell you first?
Well, before we get to all that stuff,
Yeah.
I mean, just where did you grow up?
I grew up in LA.
Oh, you were okay. So
Yeah.
you born and raised in LA.
I was born in Thailand,
Oh, wow. Okay.
but I was here when I was 6 months old.
Okay.
So,
Yeah. So yeah.
I'm basically.
I spent the first year of my life in Arizona. I have no recollection of
Yeah,
Arizona. Ohio is home.
right. Yeah.
Okay.
South LA.
All right. So then they came here.
Yes.
With you.
Yes.
So you grew up here, and what was your life like then?
Very poor.
Yeah.
So my dad was actually he was a director and editor and producer for Cambodian music videos.
Oh, wow.
So he that's where I got the show business stuff
Sure.
from.
Yeah.
So he did all that. And he, had the big dream and was like, we're gonna go and be in LA and do this whole thing. But it ended, struggling artists. So we ended up being really poor.
Well, I don't want to. It seemed. Is there a big market for Cambodian music videos?
No. But he had a dream.
Probably more power to him.
Yeah,
but I'm
yeah,
just
yeah.
sitting here thinking, like, poor in Cambodia. I could see that
I
adding
could
up.
see how. But you know what? He also was like, I want to write for American movies. So that was his big dream, because he had a big imagination. He was, even though he was angry and abusive, he was like, intelligent and, you know,
Yeah.
all that good stuff. So
did
So
he
we were
come to
poor.
LA to do Cambodian music videos?
he sure did. And
Okay.
then we got scammed by some guy that said he was an American producer
God.
and wanted to like read.
Ugh.
you hate this, is like not your first time hearing that story, but yeah. So he had high hopes, but we were okay. So a lot of times because I'm Asian, obviously, so when I say I was poor, people look at me like, "What do you mean? Come on,
Right.
do you
Yeah.
mean like you have 5 Honda Civics poor?" You know?
Yeah.
And I'm like, "No, we were poor, like rats and roaches poor.
Okay.
Like we were poor."
Mm-hmm.
Like one time, my mom made spaghetti. And she liked making spaghetti. So in the pot of spaghetti, we opened it, my brother and I, and there was like a roach in the spaghetti.
Wow.
When you're poor, you don't throw away food, you know?
Yeah, you just kind of pick the roach
So
out.
we picked the roach out and still ate the pot of spaghetti. That's,
Okay.
You know, we were poor.
So I'm going to guess you had 0 Honda Civics.
No, we did not have
Yeah.
any Honda Civics.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, we had like an old car, and, you know.
Yeah.
We were poor.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you said your dad was angry and abusive. Was that because the Cambodian thing didn't work out?
I think my dad was, honestly, looking back now, I think he was angry and abusive because he was bipolar.
Oh, well,
But like undiagnosed, yeah.
Yeah.
So he would have points where he was like a happy, loving dad,
Right.
and then points where he would just be angry for no reason. And we got the butt end of them both. So
That's always the saddest thing to hear is just people who, is he still with us or is
no,
he? Okay.
well, no, he is.
Yeah.
But I mean, he left when I was 15.
Okay. So not really.
Not really.
No. We'll just say no on that. Yeah.
Right.
But it's just sad when, people from the past, when these things weren't diagnosed,
Yes.
and there's just, because I'm sure he was aware of that something's not right here,
Right.
but I don't know what it is. And
Yeah.
obviously you guys didn't know what it was. So you just thought he was. Anyway, I'm glad that we're making progress
Right,
in
yeah.
that realm.
Yes.
So you left when you were 15. Have you seen him since
yeah.
then?
So he
Okay.
left when I was 15. My mom passed away when I was 30.
Okay. Ugh,
30,
okay.
like 32 or something. So 15 years later is when he got back in touch with me.
Really?
Yeah, but I was like,
Yeah.
like,
Kind of.
I mean, I forgive you, but there's no like, I don't have any. How do you say it? Like, there's no benefit to our relationship right now.
Right.
I'm already taking care of myself.
Yeah, you've been on your own. Like you figured
You're
it
not
out.
giving me a credit card. I don't.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we've just kind of parted ways. But
Did he reach out because your mom died?
actually, I found him. I found his like step family.
Oh.
Yeah.
okay.
So
Did
I
he have
found
a whole
them.
other family.
Yeah, he had a whole other family. Like
Wow.
my dad is
Before he left you guys, did he have a family?
no.
Okay,
This
so
was
afterwards.
Afterwards.
Okay, so you
I
guys were
found
like the
them.
mulligan, like we'll do
Yeah.
it again. Okay.
Yeah, so then I found him, and then I called him to say, Mom passed away, and he was like, "Oh, I heard," but he didn't call me. But anyway, so then we talked, and he tried to reconnect, but I just wasn't feeling it.
Sure.
It was
Yeah.
it was just better off for both of us that we just live our separate lives. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. So between him leaving at 15 and your mom dying at 30, how did you end up in the hand job game?
So I used to be a waitress. I was a waitress.
Okay.
No, because like I said, we were poor. And
Yeah.
when my dad left, my mom was even more poor,
Yeah.
because she was a single mom too. So then one day she asked me for $20. And that's when I was like, I'm going to do something else
Yeah.
to like help myself and my brother and my mom.
How old were you when she asked that?
I was like 29.
Okay.
I'm 39 now. So this was
Okay.
10 years ago.
Yeah.
So I was 29, and then I looked on Craigslist. I was like, oh, let me just look for gigs. And
Yeah.
I was trying to be an escort. I was like, what? I'm having sex anyway. So
Might as well get paid
I was
for
like,
it.
why am I not making $1,000 every time I have sex with someone? That doesn't make any sense. Because you can still pick your clients. You don't have
Right.
to take every single client, right?
Yeah.
So, but then I saw an ad that said massage girls wanted, no no sex, and a bunch of dollar signs. And I was like, no sex? Well, then let's do that.
All right.
Yeah. So then I called him, and he told me it was hand jobs, and I was like, yes,
I'm in.
I can do that.
Did you have any experience with massages?
Yeah, just for fun, like with me and my friends.
Sure. Yeah.
And actually people tell me that I give good back rubs.
Okay.
Right. So I'm like, well, I
Fantastic.
already do it,
Yeah.
and I'm like, if I'm just giving him a hand job, that's easy. I'm like, men pay for hand jobs,
Yeah. It just
That
seems
really
like-
surprised me. I was like, why am I doing this shit for free? Seriously. So for me, it wasn't like, oh, poor me, I have to do hand jobs. For me, it was like,
All right.
fuck, I'm a businesswoman,
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Which is funny to me because I have always found hand jobs to be incredibly uncomfortable. Because it's just like there's nothing else going on, you know?
Yeah, it is uncomfortable.
Like it's for everybody. I mean, you know, there's some pleasure for me, but for the most part, it's just like, well, we're just here.
But you know, a lot of guys say they're like, not a lot of women give good hand jobs, right?
Maybe that's it.
And a lot of women probably don't like giving because again, there's no, you know,
It's just a lot of wrist action. You get sore, then you gotta switch it up.
you
It's a
know.
whole thing. You know, I don't know.
But see the the thing about hand jobs was for me, I wasn't the type to be like sexy talk and you know,
Sure.
I wasn't like that. I was just giving him a massage. He turned over and I gave him a hand job and then he left. And some of them were like married, so they talked to me about their wives and why they need to go and get a massage. You know, a lot of them are just like, you know, I just want companionship or
They're justifying to you who isn't asking, but they're just justifying to
they're
themselves.
just, you know, and I'm like, okay, cool. You know, because and then after a while I started I became like a madam, right? So I started having girls working for me.
That's amazing.
Because I knew how to like post the ads, take the phone calls, determine whether the guy was worth seeing or not. Because some guys sound creepy, and these girls who are on drugs, they're gonna go see like every guy. You know?
How did you make that determination?
So if it was a 310 area code, I knew they were rich.
Okay.
Back in the day, you know, it was like West Side LA. You know, 213 area code. I was like, what area are you in? You like at that, you know. But then you can hear it on the phone.
Really?
You can hear it.
You just kind of pick up on it.
You can pick up on it because some of them they don't. If they're on drugs, you can totally tell. You know, or if they're gonna, some of them would like whisper, you know, and they sound really creepy. And I was like, no, I'm not available. But see, other women don't know how to determine that because they just want to make money.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Regardless of the situation.
And I wasn't gonna put anybody in that kind of danger. But apparently, I'm not smart enough because I've been busted doing it. So I couldn't tell that they were.
So before we get to that, I have some specific questions that come to mind. What was the longest time it took to get a guy off?
So honestly, like I would just give them a back rub for 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And then they would turn around.
Yeah.
And it would only take another like 10 minutes.
Okay. You never had like somebody who just
would. Some of them would like hold off.
Oh, really?
You know?
Yeah.
And they'd be like, slow down because, you know, slow down. Why are you in a hurry? And I'm like, I don't want to fucking do this. Like, what makes you think that I'm in this? Because fucking, anyway.
There's no pleasure
I
here.
know. But, you know, so it usually would only be like 40 minutes, 45 minutes.
Okay. What were some of the weirder things that was said to you during this?
Oh my God, I had a guy. Oh my God, can I say this?
Please, yeah.
Oh God. So I was at like a really expensive hotel. I think it was like the Standard.
Yeah.
Some guy on a business trip, white man, you know, just white collar dude.
Yeah.
And that's another thing. If he was white, I'm like, I'm taking it. I'm going over there. You know, I'm sorry. That sounds really, but I had to protect myself. It was just part of, you know. But nowadays, white men are kind of.
I was going to say, we're
crazy now,
not
but
so
again,
reliable.
This is 10 years ago, remember? So no, he would be like, "Oh, can you stick your finger in my anus?" And I was like, "Oh my God." Okay, but he seemed clean, right? And he just kept saying, "Can you stick your finger in my anus and whatever?" And it was like $200. So I'm like, "Okay." You know?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. But you know what? And then on a deeper level, I was in the moment thinking, I'm doing this for my family. Like, I know it sounds like, it's all fun and games, but I was like, I got to do it for my family.
Well, that was going to be my next question is that, I mean, it's fun to talk about now, but I mean, what was that like day to day? Like, I mean, did you enjoy, enjoy probably isn't the right word. You were just happy to be making the money for your family?
Yes. Cause I was making like $200 an hour,
Yeah.
Back then. Nowadays it's probably more, but back then it was like $120 an hour, $150 an hour, $200 an hour. And they tip you.
Did you? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, they tip you.
So did you tell anybody this is what you were doing? So you were very open about it. It wasn't like I'm ashamed.
I was never ashamed, but I wasn't open about it to my more Asian conservative friends.
Sure.
Not because I was like I didn't want them to feel like I can't hang out with her now.
Right.
Because they were very like college graduate, married after college, like very like conventional.
Sure. Yeah.
So but they knew I lived in hotels. I stayed at DoubleTree Hotel every day.
Yeah.
They thought the front desk knew my name, They thought I was like this big businesswoman, which I was.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
But,
sounds like it.
But yeah, so my best friends knew,
Yeah. And so at this point, what was your family? Was your mom? Do you have siblings, or
Yeah,
did you
so
have
my
a
mom right now
child
or
yet?
back
Or
then?
back then when you were doing
this was all pre-baby.
Pre-baby. Okay, so this is
yeah,
basically for your
pre-baby.
mom and anybody
This
else.
is my mom and my brother.
Your brother.
I have a younger brother.
Younger brother.
Who is bipolar schizophrenic.
So he got that from your dad.
Yes.
Okay. Now is he diagnosed and stuff? Okay. So that's
He's actually out of boarding care, so he's being taken care of.
okay.
Because after my mom passed, I was like, I can't do it.
Right.
I couldn't take care of him and make money and,
Right.
So he has really good insurance and they're
Good.
taking care of him and he's doing well. So
That's good. Is he in LA?
yeah, he's in Pico Rivera.
Oh, cool. So you're able to like visit and stuff like that. That's cool. Okay. So you were basically so you were taking care of your brother and your mom.
Yes.
Okay. And was she working at that point too?
She was working.
Waitressing?
No, my mom
No.
was working at like donut shops.
Okay.
Like
Yeah.
little odd jobs here and there.
Yeah.
She'd ask me, she's like, what do you do for work now? I'm like, oh, I'm a massage therapist. She's like, oh, does that make good money? I'm like, yeah, that makes really, because massage therapist, you can make good money.
Oh
right?
yeah. Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, massage therapist. And so she like told all her friends I was a massage therapist. And I'm like, okay.
A side thing that kind of makes me chuckle is that when you first reached out to that Craigslist ad and you were talking to a guy or something.
Yes.
And I like that the qualifications for the job were that, well, my friends tell me I give good back rubs. And they're like,
I know.
sold.
Yeah.
No, like no certificates or anything else.
And you know what? These things, I talk about all this in my stand-up, by
Yeah.
the way. So, I haven't gotten in as, because you're asking me questions,
Sure.
so I'm giving you more info. But
Yeah.
I met the guy, like, I was so risky back then. Like, I just called him and he was like, hand jobs. I said, okay. He's like, I'll pick you up. We're going to take pictures of you. Okay. I go to his house. He's a drug addict, alcoholic.
Sure.
He was a pimp, right? But of course I was like, he's so handsome and he's saving me. And so I dated him.
Oh, did you?
I started dating him. Oh God, he was terrible. But I dated him for like 3 weeks. But he taught me everything.
Oh,
and
wow.
that's how I was able to branch off and be my own madam, Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
So
taught me
something
everything.
good came of it. I mean, was it? Was it the cliche pimp? Like he didn't walk around with a cane and
No,
everything else?
he just looked like the typical, thug who drove a tinted Lexus with like shiny rims.
So what about that attracted you to
My
him?
daddy issues.
Daddy?
I'm telling you, it was my daddy issues.
Yeah,
it
was
was
it?
the danger, the asshole. Like, because my dad was kind of an angry asshole. So I'm like, I guess that's love, right? I guess that's,
So it's a real thing.
it's a thing, man.
Okay. But
Yeah.
you were able to get yourself out of it after
I
a
got
couple
out of
weeks.
it. Yeah.
Okay. All right. You seen
did.
him lately?
No. My God, he hit me up a few times. He was like, "Oh my God, you have a child now?" I was like, I didn't even respond.
Sorry you weren't invited to the baby shower.
I know.
pimp.
Like, no. But it was crazy because he ended up in jail. He ended up in jail for a few
Doesn't seem
years.
shocking.
But good thing I wasn't like,
Yeah.
involved in that. Oh.
Wow. Okay. And just so to
Yeah.
backtrack a little more, leading up to this, what were the different jobs that you had?
I waitressed.
Waitress. That was pretty
So
much.
I waitressed. I worked in
different restaurants.
marketing, I did multi-level marketing. You know what I mean? Like a kind of like Herbalife, that kind of structure.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But with a different company. I did that in the East Coast for like 10 years.
Oh, wow. Where were you
Which
living?
was really cool. Huh? I
Where were
lived in
you
New
living?
Jersey,
Oh, you're in Jersey. Okay.
but worked in New York. So that was fun.
I
Very
bet.
different from LA.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I
Totally
came back
different vibe.
from I came back from New York and I just hurt everybody's feelings for being so like straightforward,
Yeah.
I hurt my roommates' feelings. I was telling everybody just straight up what I thought, and
It
people
took-
were like,
It took me a long time to realize, like, people from New York, like, if you just have to accept the bluntness as they care enough to just be honest with you, as opposed to, everyone else, like, hides behind it, because I mean,
Yeah.
there's plenty of assholes there, too, that just tell you to go fuck yourself or whatever.
Yeah.
But there's just a bluntness that I've found.
Right.
And I try my best to just appreciate it,
Right.
even if oftentimes it sounds condescending.
It does. And like in New York, in my experience, if they don't like you, they just won't talk to you. So if they're talking to you, then they like you. It took me a while to learn that. But
Which is kind of nice because it cuts through the bullshit. Because out here, everyone's like, "Hey, how's it going?" Blah, 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 blah. And then they're all but in their head, they're thinking like, "Fuck this person."
I know,
I'm
right?
like, it's kind of nice if it's just like, "Oh, you don't like me? Great."
great, we'll just move on.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, okay, so you went there. Then what brought you back to LA?
Oh, so I came back to LA because I just didn't want to do the marketing thing
Sure.
anymore. So I came back and then I started waitressing again, and it was easy money waitressing.
Yeah. And did you come back somewhat with the idea of getting into entertainment?
Yes.
Okay.
So I've always wanted to, of course, actually, I never thought that I could do stand-up comedy.
Really?
Like I always watched stand-up comedy, and I was always like, man, these people they're really fucking killing it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I could never do that. But after I became a mom, I was like, well, what can be harder than being a parent?
Wow, that's cool. So we'll get to that because that's a benefit you probably weren't expecting from having a kid.
I was not.
That's amazing. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes,
so you're in the game. You're giving massages. You're dating pimps. You get out of the pimp relationship.
Yep.
And then how long are you doing this before things go south?
So I did it for like a year.
Okay.
And then literally, Joe, I was like really tired of looking at dicks. Like, I'm not kidding.
Sure. Yeah.
Like, I say that as a joke, but it was true.
No, I'm sure.
Like, people are like, but why did you really get out? And I'm like, because getting busted, that don't bother me, whatever. You know what I mean? Because I didn't have sex with them. So I wasn't like getting charged for prostitution and whatever. So I'm like, spending time in jail, whatever. I got to sleep,
Yeah.
But like looking at dicks, really, I was like, I can't. It got to a point where clients would call me and I would get like 10 clients a day or whatever, anywhere from like 3 to 10 a day. So they would call me and I just wouldn't want to answer the phone. Yeah. So then I knew like, and then I had a stalker. Now I remember.
Oh boy. Okay.
Yeah. So this guy kept calling me. He was like, I'm watching you at your hotel room. And I see you walking to the store and he would describe what I was wearing. He'd be like, in your short shorts and your tank top. And I was like, what the fuck? So then I knew it was time to get out.
Yeah. How many times had he seen you? I mean, had you.
He had called me. I remember he called me like twice.
Yeah.
He called me twice, and I was like, okay, that was enough for me. Like I'm dangerous, but not that dangerous.
Sure. Yeah.
So,
a stalker. We should date. I like your tenacity.
Yeah. Oh my God. You know what I'm wearing?
I'm so flattered. You would take the time to follow me around?
You would take the time to just park in front of my room and figure this. God damn. So, yeah. So that's what happened. And then I decided, okay, I'm just going to not do it anymore.
Okay.
Yeah. The money wasn't worth it anymore.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. And I imagine you'd probably saved some, hopefully, during that year.
Sure. No, I was spending it like I was.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I was like 20. I was so stupid. You know?
Well, and if you're having 10 clients a day, then money's it's coming in.
It's
always coming in.
Yeah.
So why not if it goes out?
Right. And being poor growing up too. So I was poor growing up. So when I had money,
right. Yeah. And I imagine you probably took care of your mom and all that stuff. And okay. So when does the arrest happen?
So the first time I go to an out call means you go to their place. I go to a hotel, and there was only one other car there. I don't know why I was so stupid. So I'm like, okay, let me go in, in my little black dress,
Sure.
I walk in, and then he's talking to me. He goes, so we're gonna do full service, and full service means you're gonna have sex with him. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, no, I don't do full service. I don't do full service. He's like, okay, do you do topless? And I was like, well, yeah.
What are we doing here?
Why did life give me these boobs? You know what I mean? Like, if I'm not going to make money from them, doesn't make any sense. No, so he and then he goes, I was like, okay, but I'm not having sex. Okay. So then he leaves the money on the counter. You're not supposed to exchange the money, right? You're not supposed to do that because then he's paying you. But if it's a gift, it's fine.
I see.
So
I love the technicalities of law. It's so funny.
So then he goes, well, I'm going to go outside and get some ice. He goes, you want some ice? And you want something from the vending machine? My dumbass was like, no, I'm good. Okay, I'll see you. He goes out to get ice. I'm in the restroom, like checking myself. And then boom, boom, boom. Like I hear like a loud knock on the door. And they're like, police. And I was like, I'm the smart one. How am I getting arrested here?
Shit.
Yeah. So then they cuffed me to the chair and they kept asking me, where's your pimp? Where's your pimp? And I was like, I don't have a pimp.
Yeah.
And he go, why don't you have a pimp? And I'm like, why would I want to share my profits? Like, I don't understand.
Yeah, you're talking common business sense. And
I was like, what is
no, but there's got to be a pimp. Like, no, I'm self-employed.
Right. Why would I have a pimp? But yeah, so they kept saying, tell your pimp to come and get you, because they were trying to, of course, bust
the
pimp, right? Yeah. But I'm like, I don't have one. I am the pimp.
I am the pimp.
Right, but yes. And then after the while, they talked to me for a long time because they were busting other girls in the next. So the whole hotel was a sting operation.
Okay.
Motel.
I was going to ask why they
Yeah.
chose you, but it was just a whole.
It was a
yeah.
whole, you know, I just happened to take that call.
Right.
And then so I just sat there chatting with them, and I was just talking to them and everything, and they were having beers and shit. And I was like, what the fuck? What's happening right now? So I think after a while, they kind of knew that I really wasn't a prostitute.
Yeah. Yeah,
But-
they could see like you got your stuff together.
Yeah.
Like you're not, you know.
So then they had to take me in anyway because, you know, that was the first time.
Right.
And then I spent like 3 days in like Glendale. No, I forgot which jail, but in like a local jail, you know?
Yeah, yeah, kind of the drunk
The
tank
city jail.
kind of
Yeah,
thing.
not LA County.
Yeah, it wasn't.
So
Okay.
that was the first time.
Okay.
The second time was at the Days Inn in Glendale. That guy really
Fine
had
hotel.
he really had me give him a whole massage.
Yeah.
You know, I asked him to turn around, and he turned around, and then I reached for his penis, and then he goes, "Have you ever had a Red Bull?" And I was like, "What?" But that was their code, right? Because they was recording. They were recording.
That was their code?
Fuck? And I was like, "What?" And then he goes, "You had to have a Red Bull?" And I was like, "What?" And then boom, like the cops busted in. Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
What went through your head that second time?
The first thing I said was, "I didn't have sex with them." I'm like, "I didn't. No sex." You know? But it's crazy because honestly now every time I hear a loud knock, I still jump.
I bet.
Yeah. I'm still like, what the even though I'm not doing anything, you know, I'm
Sure.
not doing massages anymore, right? But
I wonder how much time went into deciding what the key word was going to be.
I have no
Have you ever had a Red Bull?
because it came out of nowhere. Because we'd be like, "Oh, so you know, how's your life and what do you do?" And I turns around and I was like, "So, you know, is this massage okay? Have you ever had Red Bull?" Like it just came out of nowhere. I'm like, "What the fuck?" But
Anyway, okay. So did they ask you again about a pimp and all that stuff, or
no,
what was-
this one was I was just like because he knew that because I didn't have sex with him.
right?
Because I would have already had sex with him, right? Because he was already getting the massage and everything. So they kind of they gave me a ticket and they said go to court. And they let me go.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then
Okay.
I did go to court,
Yeah.
and she was like, the judge said you're on probation for 3 years.
Okay.
Get an HIV test, and you have to do like however many hours of community service. It was a lot.
Yeah. Like 100.
I have a stand-up joke about that. You want to hear that?
Yeah.
So the judge goes, probation, HIV test, community service. And I was like, first of all, can a hand job give me HIV? And second of all, I thought I was servicing the community.
That's good. That's good.
But it sounds better on stage.
Yeah. Well, no.
yeah.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
So, but I didn't do any of that.
No, you didn't do any of the hours or anything.
Nope. Because I thought, you know, I'm not gonna, you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
like, what am I above the law? Like, what the fuck?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now you think that. Yeah. No. Yeah. But at the time you were just like, well, fuck that.
Yeah.
Okay. And then did you go back to working, or were you done at that
Yes.
point? You did
no,
go back.
I
Okay.
did go back. I'm telling you, the arrest did not bother me.
Right. Okay.
It was the looking at dicks. I'm telling you. And the stalker, of course, but yeah. Yeah, you know what? That's crazy because I forgot about the stalker until I talked to you.
Yeah. Had he been a client for a while?
The stalker?
Yeah.
I don't know. I never found out who he was.
Oh.
He just
Well,
stopped
I guess
calling.
that's true. You just stopped calling?
Yeah, so
Well,
I'm
that's
like,
good.
okay, well,
Well, speaking of that, I did just want to, I mean, other than voices, I mean, it's just, was it ever scary walking into a situation where it's like, I don't know what I'm walking into?
yes. So if I
Okay.
go to a place where it looks sketchy,
Yeah.
I won't go in.
Okay.
So I'll call and I'll say, I'm sorry, I'm not going to take this, you know.
Yeah.
There'd be some guys I would just keep on, come on, come in. And by that time, you're like, I know you're going to be sketchy, so I'm not going in.
Right.
Because most guys, if you call and you're like, oh, I'm sorry, you know, it doesn't feel right to me, you know, they'll say, okay, I understand. And they'll find somebody else. Right.
Right.
I've had that before where I'm just like, ooh, what is this?
Yeah.
There was one in Compton,
Mm-hmm.
and this guy had me go over to his business in like the ghetto, right? And then, am I allowed to say ghetto? My
Yeah.
God. I didn't know what other word to use. But, he had bulletproof glass and stuff.
Mm.
And I was like, I can't go in there. I'm sorry. I showed up, but I was
Yeah.
like, you
couldn't
know,
do
I don't
it.
feel safe.
Yeah.
And he kind of got upset. And I'm like, I'm not going in there with you.
Right.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was there ever any times you did go in and then realized you needed to get out?
No,
No? Okay.
because I was really, really careful about
Sure.
that.
Yeah.
Really careful.
Okay. Okay. So then, did the arrest go anywhere? Like, did it ever catch up to you that you didn't do your hours or anything?
Yes. So like, so 5 years later, I'm driving to like a gig or something, and then I get pulled over in Downey. And then, so they're checking my license and whatever, and they're like, "Ma'am, can you get out of the car?" I was like, "Why?" But you don't say why in your head. You're like, okay. So I get out of the car and they cuff me.
Oh.
And
boy.
I said, what's going on? And she goes, you have a bench warrant for a failure to appear or something like that.
Yeah.
And you have a bench, and it was a lot of money for just like you had community service you were supposed to do, blah, 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 for back, back then. And then I was like, oh shit. So she really took me into Glendale jail. And then not Glendale, Downey jail. And then the cops from Glendale came to pick me up to take me to Glendale to deal with that. And this is a true story. Listen. So the cops that were driving me from Downey to Glendale, he was like looking at he checked his little screen in the car,
right.
and he was like, wait. He goes, I remember you. He was like, I was there during your sting operation. Isn't that crazy?
Wow.
It was the same. He was in, oh my God. Because it was more than one, not the guy I was giving a massage to, but he was one of the cops that busted in.
Sure.
Yeah. And I was like,
he drinking a Red Bull? Yeah.
I'll be like, how's that Red Bull? Huh? Yeah. So I was like, shut up.
Wow.
So then he calls that Asian guy, the Asian cop that I was giving a massage to. And he messaged him and he was like, oh, remember that sting operation we did? And we got her, in the back seat. But yeah, so I ended up going, but I ended up in LA County for that. And I was there for 12 days. It was a long time.
Okay.
Well, I mean, long time in my head.
Well, sure, yeah. I mean,
it's nothing.
For people who haven't been there before,
yes.
12 days,
yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
wow.
I was there for 12 days.
So then, did you have to end up doing the hours or anything?
Yeah, so then they were like, okay. So the only reason why I was there for 12 days is because the system was backed up and it didn't show that I was released. That's the only reason.
Really?
So they kept taking me back and forth to court because the fucking system was behind. So one day, one of the cops there, the deputies or whatever, was like called up to the clerk and was like, hey, can you just check on this person? Because everybody in jail knew I didn't need to be in jail. I'm like, I have a job. Of course, I lost that job.
I would imagine.
When I got out. Yeah. But I'm like, I just need to go back to my job. Like, it's not like I'm going back to the streets,
Right.
So a lot of the cops ended up helping me out, which is really cool.
How long were you supposed to be in jail? For like a night?
Yeah, it was like a night.
Wow.
Because, only because it was like I couldn't see the judge. Right. A lot of these, And then, so I ended up there 12 days, bologna sandwiches every day. Yep.
Man. Okay. All right. So you get out. Where are you where were you working before you got in?
So that time I was a restaurant manager.
You were a manager.
Can you isn't that crazy? I was my life was, going in a different direction.
Right.
Yeah, I was a restaurant manager. So of course I called my district manager and I'm like, I'm sorry I was arrested, Of course I told her the truth. Why didn't I just make something up? Right. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
I was like, I'm sorry, I was arrested. It was 5 years ago. I just didn't take care of stuff and it caught up to me. And then she messaged me like, well, when can you come in and talk? And I was like, oh, maybe she'll give me a second chance, like an idiot. But she didn't. She was like, I'm sorry, this is your last paycheck.
Damn.
I know.
Okay. And so what was the relationship like at that point? Had you met the soon-to-be dad who's gone?
No. So isn't this crazy? So after the jail, I get out it was like Labor Day around that time, September. Mm-hmm. I meet my son's dad in October.
Okay.
On OkCupid.
Bringing the best together.
Because it was free and I didn't want to pay for it.
Sure.
I didn't want to pay.
I had an account on OkCupid. I remember just being very lonely at like 2 a.m. in my grandmother's house in Cincinnati. Just like, why don't I have anybody? And create an account on OkCupid. So no judgment.
No, yeah. So OkCupid. And he's from India. He was like, I'm just here for work for, a month.
Yeah.
And I was like, cool. And I've never dated an an Indian man, because they're not really my type, whatever. But I was like, well, I'll go out with him,
Sure.
He's an engineer, so he says, he could be an IT guy. I don't know. So he was like, so I said, okay. And he made me laugh on the phone. So I went out with him and met him. And I was like, well, I don't really like him. So I'll just have sex with him.
Sure.
It's not going anywhere.
Yeah. And he's just visiting anyway.
He's just visiting. It's not going to be a thing, you
right.
know?
Yeah.
So like we have a 2-night stand. That's it.
Yeah.
And then one oops.
Oh.
Yep. He goes back to India and I find out I'm pregnant, right? And I tell him and he goes, I don't want you to keep him. And I was like, oh, well, now I'm going to,
Did you have a kid out of spite?
Yeah, you know what I mean? I was like, oh, well, now I am. But but the truth is when the doctors came in to talk to me and he was, he thought that I was going to get an abortion because when he walked in, I was like, I'm not ready.
Yeah.
And then he was like, we'll do what, we support you. But as he was talking to me, I was picturing myself on the abortion table. And I was like, I'm not going to be able to go through that. Right? So I was already 35 at the time. So I'm like, I'm just going to keep him.
So this was like 4 years ago? Okay.
Yeah. So I kept him. And now here we are.
Wow.
Yep. His dad's still in India.
And does
We
he
don't
want
talk.
any? No talk. Yeah.
But you know what? I'll be honest. I preferred it that way.
Yeah. Why?
Because it wasn't like we were in a relationship. Like I wasn't in love with him.
Right.
I wasn't heartbroken. So to me, it was like, I don't want to deal with raising a child and a screaming toddler and a guy I don't like. And I don't, I don't want to be like, so where's the child support? Like where, I don't want to be in that battle. I just want to be happy.
Right. Well, and like you mentioned, you really weren't into him anyway.
I wasn't.
It was just a sex thing.
Yeah. So for me, it was like, oh my God, I'm so heartbroken.
Yeah.
So he even asked me, he goes, one day we chatted and he was like, we can get married. He just wanted a visa. You know what I mean?
Sure.
He's like, we can get married and I can get a visa and I can come take care of you guys. And I was like, well, we'll see how this goes.
Yeah.
But he never asked how I was doing. He was never like, what can I do for you? Nothing. So I'm like, well, no. So now here we are. And I'm like, it's crazy because now I'm the happiest I've ever been in my life.
That's
That's
great.
the crazy part.
Yeah.
Super happy.
Wow.
I'm stressed the fuck out because parenting is hard, but
Well, sorry.
I love it.
Yeah.
I'm happy.
Parenting and stand-up comedy.
Yeah.
Parenting on your own. I mean, that's a lot to juggle.
Yeah.
So, I mean, how do you go to show? I mean, it's such a night-driven industry, stand-up.
Yes.
So how do you balance that?
So I pay someone else to parent my child.
I haven't seen my child in 4 years.
I mean, he's, I FaceTime him. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I just have I've been fortunate to have good sitters who I trust, who treat them like family,
Yeah.
So I do that, but I only go to like 8 p.m. shows. I can't do shows later than that because I want to pick him up by a certain time,
Right.
So there's those limitations. But I'm like, fuck it, I'll just make it work.
Yeah, exactly. What else are you going to do?
And you know what? The mom guilt is real though, Joe. I'm serious.
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever want kids. You want kids?
Yeah.
You do? I don't know what dads feel like because I'm just not a dad. But it's guilt. You feel guilty. You feel guilty.
Like just when you leave to do
because
something.
you're like, and my friends always have to remind me, like, you wouldn't be doing this if it wasn't for him. Because I honestly don't want him to grow up with rats and roaches, and I don't want him to grow up like with angry parents or just unhappy mom or
Yeah.
So I do my best to keep myself happy so he knows like, oh, okay, this is what life is supposed to be like. Not everything's a struggle.
Yeah. Well, you may have already answered it with that, but how specifically did having your son propel you to try stand-up? You may have just answered it.
No, because seriously, I always wanted to do stand-up, and then one day I was Googling, and they was like, oh, stand-up comedy class. I'm like, they teach stand-up comedy? But the thing was, I'm like, nothing is harder than parenting. Once you parent, you're like, stand-up comedy.
Sure. What do I give a shit what these strangers think?
What do I care?
Who am I trying to impress?
Seriously, because you just
makes
give,
sense.
the older you get, you just give less fucks, right? And then like once you become a parent, you just have a very low tolerance for BS. So then I'm just like, I'm going to go balls out because I want to be able to tell him like, I tried, I did it. So when he's like, oh, I want to be a rocket scientist, go be a rocket scientist, do whatever you want, Yeah, because I also don't want to live vicariously through him.
Right.
So I want to do my own thing.
I feel like that's a theme with comedians or actors. Oftentimes it seems like there was the struggling parent who had resentment towards them, and then eventually on their deathbed said, "I'm proud of you," And so, oddly enough, I've heard that story.
Really?
Yeah.
Because you got to live your dreams, and I had to sacrifice.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I worked at the factory, and so you don't want to deal with that. Yeah.
I don't want to be that parent.
Yeah.
I just don't. Yeah.
And so, 4 years into it, it doesn't sound like you would. You don't put any pressure on yourself, like, oh, he should have like a man in his life and all that shit. Like,
He's already learned. He's like a, and this is my other stand-up joke. He's be like, Mom, he's learned how to say, "Where's Daddy?" Because he's gonna be 3.
Okay.
Because I had him at 36,
Right,
but he was like, he's like, "Where's Daddy?" And I'm like, "Daddy's in India." So now he's learned how to say, "Oh, Daddy's in India." And he'd be like, "What's his name?" And I'm like, "Aziz Ansari." I hope you hear this joke. Yeah.
Now, this is for trying to foresee look into the future, but would you let the Indian dad have any interactions if he wanted to?
I'm hoping that he'll look for Ethan, my son's Ethan, when Ethan's old enough to make his own decision.
Sure. Okay. So you're going to wait until...
So even if he's 10, right, and he knows how to make his own decision, and his dad comes around and I'll say, "Ethan, do you want to hang out with your dad?" And he says, "Yes." Okay.
Right.
I mean, I'm going to be there.
Right. Sure. Yeah.
But if he's too, like, let's say he's still little, he doesn't know. I'm very open to it. So if he ever came back and was like, "Oh, I want to be a part of his life now," sure. I don't hate him.
Right.
There's no hate,
Sure. And that's kind of the gift I think you gave yourself is that you didn't allow it to get to a point where there was any hate. It was just like, "Hey, I knew you for 48 hours.
Yeah.
And, like, we'll keep it at that. I can't really hate you."
No, I can't.
And
here's the bill. No, I'm just kidding. Here's 3 years worth of time. No. You just slip it in.
You want to see him?
Here
Pay the
you
tab.
go. Yeah. No, but honestly, I don't hate him. So if he came around, I'd be like, "Oh, hey, what's up?" Like, I'd still be, because why?
Right.
Waste of energy. Like, I don't.
So the flip of that, like if he hadn't reached out to you, but Ethan was like, when he was 10, like, "I want to see my dad," would you then reach out to... Okay. Yeah.
But you know what? I don't even know how to reach out to him.
Sure.
Like, I can find him on Facebook or Instagram.
Basically it.
But
yeah.
I've shown Ethan pictures of his dad.
Okay. So it's all...
I've shown him. So I'm like, this is Daddy. And he's like, "Daddy?" He doesn't completely know, but he's getting there,
Yeah.
So I'm very open with that stuff.
So how long have you been doing stand-up then?
I've been doing stand-up not even a year.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so November of last year.
Wow. Very cool.
That's why when I said I have a high respect for stand-up comedy, and it took me, even right now, I'm like, I'm a comedian.
Yeah.
But it's like, am I though?
Sure,
Sometimes I feel like, am I though? Because I mean, Chris Rock is a comedian, like Wanda Sykes is a comedian.
Yeah. Her new special is great, by the way.
Fuck, yes.
A little too preachy with Trump, but she's so funny.
She's funny.
But when I'm at this point with politics and stand up, it's just so terrible in my life. Like, politics to me is so terrible at this point that I just want to forget about it. I'm like, I know, I stopped watching John Oliver for the same reason. It's like, I love him.
Yeah.
But I just can't, because I'm like, it's not a joke anymore. It's just sad. And, like, I just have a hard time laughing about it. I'm just like, ugh.
Or like when they get too deep. Like, I don't follow politics, right?
Right.
So when they get too deep, like, I want to laugh, so I'm like Googling their shit. I'm like Googling their material. Who's he talking about?
What?
I know,
Yeah.
But she's still, they're
great.
comedians.
Yeah. Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah.
So.
Well, I have no doubt you're going to be right up there.
You think so?
Yeah, I do.
Oh my gosh, thank you.
Well, because the biggest thing, and I think it there is a benefit to waiting.
Yeah.
Because you are just completely comfortable with yourself.
Oh,
and I think that,
thank God.
That's a big part of it. Is just being comfortable up there and not, and like you said, not giving a fuck. So it's like, I'm doing this because I want to be doing it.
Right.
So, I think it's great. And
God, you're smart.
well, I have
You really are. You really are smart. You have a lot of insight.
Well, thank you. Yeah.
That's really cool. I love talking to people with insight about me.
It's your favorite subject.
No, but you really are smart, though. No,
Thank you.
You're really smart.
Yeah. Well, I think it's pretty awesome. The one I'm trying to formulate in my head, but I think as a society we're very quick to judge anybody in the sex industry and I know you kind of basically, I was going to say dipped your toe, but I'd say flicked your hand, flicked your wrist in it.
Oh my God, that's a great joke.
Yeah. Feel free to use it.
If you ever hear that joke, I'll cut you a check when it's on my special.
Terrific. But I don't know. I think and it's not just the sex industry, but I think, it's really great to be able to put a face to. It's not everybody who's doing this is like some crazy drugged out, person.
Right.
And so I don't know, with that background that you've had, has that sort of influenced the way you think about people, or maybe don't give them the benefit of the doubt, or don't judge them right away because it's like you don't know what their situation is, or
I'm still judgmental. No. But you know what I like to say, like, what's crazy, because I joke about being judgmental, but if someone came to me, one of my friends came to me and told me their deepest, darkest secret, I would not walk away,
Yeah.
Like,
right.
I'm very compassionate when it's like deep, real, authentic shit.
Yeah.
But when it's like, I can't come to work today because I have cramps, I'm like, okay,
Well,
take an Advil.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah. Yeah.
But no, I do find myself like anybody, I do find myself judging, and then I catch myself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then I'm like, oh, well, who am I to judge?
Right.
Because, people never thought, like when I walked in, a lot of my clients would tell me that too. They'd be like, oh shit, I didn't expect you to be like not on drugs,
Right. Just like a put together person.
Yeah. Or when I
Right.
answer the phone, they're like, you sure you're Asian? Because they'd expect like an accent,
Are you sure?
They expect like, the sex workers
Oh,
from
right.
Thailand
Yeah,
or whatever. Yeah. They're
Yeah.
like, you're Asian, right? I'm like, yes.
Pretty sure.
I had my phone voice too. Like my
What was
friend
your phone
would,
voice?
not a phone voice, but my friend would always go like, that's why you always book clients, because my phone all of a sudden, because I talk like this, right?
Yeah.
But when my client phone would ring, I'd be like, hello, this is Linda.
Oh, wow.
Like, all sweet. My name is Linda.
It just sounds like sweet Linda, the secretary.
Right. My ad was like sweet, sexy, curvy Asian Linda. That was my title, right? So then when I played the role,
Yeah.
I was like, hi, this is Linda. Yes, I'm available. I'll see you soon. Like,
Hey, bye.
okay, bye. See you soon. And my guy friend would be like, what the fuck? You don't talk to me like that. The fuck? You're not paying me $200 an hour?
Yeah, I was going to say, you pay me $200, I'll talk to you any way you want.
$200 an hour. You're making me cry from all this laughing. But yeah, so yes. So
Yeah.
you just never know.
Right.
What,
Yeah.
You never
Well, yeah. Thank you so much for coming on and talking about all
For
this.
sure.
This is a great conversation. And where can people find you on social media?
Oh, so my Instagram is at Lin Sun TV.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And my Facebook is just Lin Sun. You'll find me.
Cool. That's great.
Yay!
Well, yeah, this was great. So thanks.
Thank you for having me. You're so cool.
Right back at you.
I'm going to expect every single podcast to be like this, okay?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
No, meaning like with other people. I'm
yeah.
well, I'm going to compare everybody to you.
Hopefully I've set a good standard.
You did. Thank you. Thank
Yeah,
you.
definitely.
That was the episode. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. I'm really excited to see where Lin ends up in the comedy world. I think she's got a bright future ahead of her, and I can't wait to follow along. So if you enjoyed this conversation, do the thing on the iTunes. It's greatly appreciated. Email me at badtimesgoodstoriespodcast@gmail.com, and check out badtimesgoodstoriespod.com for all the stuff. That's all I've got for this week, so until next Wednesday, keep laughing.